Hello, Dr. Robinson and classmates. My name is Katia Bellatorre, and I will be doing my synopsis on chapters 4, 5, and 6 from the book Communication, Making Connections. Chapter 4 speaks about language, and it defines it as the way that we create meaning with others. And language has a large effect on us because of the emotional tie that each and every person has to different things in communication. The words, sounds, and the grammar that are used all have specific meanings to everybody. And this can sometimes create barriers, which can be seen in culture. For example, in Ecuador, the country that I'm from, the word bicho means bug or insect. But if I were to go to Puerto Rico, it could be an offensive term because it is the meaning of the male's reproductive parts. But this is not only in between different countries, it can also be seen within the same country. For example, here in America, in the northern part of America, you could say put it up, and that just means put something up in the air. But if you were to say that down here in the South, it means just to put something away. So it is extremely important to understand the person's background in order to properly communicate with them. In addition to that, another important concept of communication is nonverbal communication. And nonverbal communication includes behaviors, the symbols, and attributes or objects that communicate messages with social meaning. So as the saying goes, it's not what we say, but how we say it. So all of this includes the tone, body movement, and even the appearance of the communicator. All of these things are sending messages to the person who they are speaking to, and it can have a large impact on how it is that they perceive it. For example, a while ago, I was extremely cold, and I had picked up the habit of, crossing your arms. And then one day, a little boy comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, why are you so mad?" And I'm like, "Why do you think I'm mad?" He's like, "Well, because my mom crosses her arms like that when she's mad." And so it really made me think about this message that I was sending just by crossing my arms. Although for me, it was just because I was cold and I was trying to cover up my hands, somebody else saw it a completely different way. And of course, there are things that we can't change, like our facial features. Like some people just look mad all the time. But there are other things that we can change, like the tone of voice, or the way that we stand, put our arms, or even if we smile. And that's also extremely important to take into consideration when, for example, giving a presentation or even just communicating to someone face to face. Lastly, chapter 6 speaks about listening, and it talks about effective listening, and it's required in all aspects of our lives. We use listening to either evaluate what a speaker is saying, to be entertained, or even to empathize with the person. And it helps us really evaluate and differ versus facts and opinions. And it's extremely important for us to listen, for us to make a proper judgment on what it is that the person is saying. And listening is a process. And it includes the perception of sounds, which include your past experiences. So you remembering what things mean, what they could be related to. Like if you hear a bird chirping, you know it's a bird, not a cricket. And it really helps you interpret information and make your own conclusions about what it is that is being said or what you're listening to. In addition to that, you also have to learn to tune things out and not be distracted. But speakers must also learn to do the same thing. And these are all important concepts of communication. Listening, but learning as a speaker not to be distracted, either with your clothing, with the gestures that you're saying, or even things in the background. These are all things that we must be aware of and that we need to learn to be aware of as we take this speech course. because they're all important for effective communication. This is my synopsis for chapters 4, 5, and 6. Thank you for watching, and please comment below.